Thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to share this banjo with y'all that I recently acquired. This is an old tackhead banjo. The gentleman I got it from said it comes originally from Camden, North Carolina. Now, Camden is up in the northeastern corner of the state, just below the Great Dismal Swamp, which borders or straddles the Virginia and North Carolina line. And it's hard to say for certain if that's where it originates, but it's certainly possible. It would be great if we could confirm that. For one, as you know, we have so many examples of old mountain banjos, but these were made and played over a much broader territory across the rural South. And so it could definitely be an Eastern North Carolina banjo. I would guess this was probably made shortly after the war between the states. A few things that point me in that direction. You'll notice it has this the side-mounted, horizontally mounted fifth string tuning peg, or that's where the peg was. You can see the hole for it. Now, there were antebellum banjos where that was a feature, but by and large they tended to be vertically mounted. The tuning peg will go through the neck like that. There's some other things about it. Some folks have commented on the extremely steep back angle on the peg head. I've seen that on some other examples of tackhead banjos from this period. Cliff Hicks suggested that it might be influenced by the shop-made, professionally made banjos that were starting to come out in the second half of the 19th century, especially after the war. The Buckbee banjos would be an example of that. And I actually have it might be a Buckbee copy, imitation, but it is a period banjo, very much in the Buckbee style. And you can see it has that same profile and similar overall neck shape and dimensions. This is an 11-inch head, which is it's on the small side for banjos from this period. Though it's normal now, but for that time period, 11 is on the small side. And it's kind of a short scale. It's probably about, maybe about 23 inches. Of course, you can move the bridge around on these fretless instruments, and so it's not a fixed length, but it is overall a smaller banjo than most certainly earlier minstrel style banjos. And another thing, I really wanted to show y'all how this head is attached. You'll notice it's hard to tell maybe in the picture, but this is a band of leather. I wasn't even sure if it was leather at first, because it's hardened with age. It's like, almost feels like metal. It's so hard, but it is leather. You can see where it's chipped in places and see the kind of rough, raw inside of the leather there. And these very fine tacks. These are very fine tacks. You'll notice they don't even come through the rim. You might have thought they were clipped off, but they don't even protrude through the rim. Also, like the Buckbee, you'll notice it has the circular dowel stick. You see that on earlier banjos too, but it is a feature of the Buckbees. And you kind of think whoever made this must have probably seen an instrument like that one over there at some point. And this other, I don't know what this is. It has this little wedge of wood down in that spot. It just kind of hangs out there and kind of rattles around, but it doesn't serve any purpose I can see. But it doesn't come out either. It's like it's stuck in there. Yeah. Yeah, I love the hand carving on the peg head. Some people might think it looks crude or primitive, but I just think it has a lot of character. I love it. Another thing you'll notice is these railroad tracks on the neck. These ruts where you can see where it was played. Makes you wonder what was played on it. And I was thinking, you know, looking at where those ruts are, where my fingers would be, what sort of things I'd be playing to play in those spots a lot. I'm thinking must have, whoever played this must have had it in either sawmill or maybe a double C or whatever you want, double D, C tuning. He might have probably had it tuned lower if it was, I mean, he would have had it tuned lower for sure if this is, probably goes back, I'd say at least around 1870, when they were using gut strings. But that's just what it looks like to me, thinking where my fingers would lay if I was playing in those tunings. And, but another thing you'll notice, it has these lines on the peg head, and to me, I'm guessing at some point somebody put metal strings on there, and it looks like the nut must have come out, and they were, you can see how it's chewed into the neck there in places, right where it should go over the nut. And I'm thinking those strings laid on there a long time and rusted and left those ghost lines on there. Yeah. I think this white is probably, somebody might have probably tried to glue that chipped off piece in at some point, and I think that's just residue from glue. Like this little, I don't know if it's just decorative, notch in the top there. Alternatively, maybe somebody, it might have been a false cut where somebody was about to saw the peg head down to be smaller, but I don't know. It looks decorative to me because it's hard to say. It's not perfectly straight, like I think a saw would have been. Not like the line for the nut. That's pretty straight. It has a slight curve to it. I just love this. Love the dimensions. It's very fine. A lot of these old things, they look crude, but a lot of people might not think they're worth much, but I love them. And I think, and there's some real artistry that goes into it. It actually takes a lot of skill to make a fine instrument. This is a very slender neck in terms of the profile. I like the width though. It is kind of on the wider side, which is a trait of earlier banjos. It's actually, I think, a little bit wider than the Buckbee up here at the nut. Another thing you'll notice, there actually is a little mark on the head where it looks like somebody indicated probably where they like to place the bridge. And looking back on the inside, there's some interesting markings in here. There's like a wheel and what looks like some sort of signature. I don't know. I can't read it. Then on the other side, another like circle with a cross through it. Whatever signifies. And then another, what looks like part of the signature, looks like pretty clearly an H, and maybe an A and two L's or something, or looks like, I don't know, Hall or Haley or something like that. Just want to show y'all that. It's really nice, I think. Just the and the heel it's nicely fitted. That's something I always. It's a big chore cutting, shaping the inside of the heel to fit the rim, but it's very rewarding when you get it fitted on there properly, and they did a good job with that. Very few screws on this. That's like one of the few ones, and I think it's just in there because that's where the scarf joint is, that where the rim is, the two ends of the bent wood are put together. I think that screw is just in there to hold that. And it doesn't, now that it looks like it did protrude and somebody cut it off. Also, like a lot of the ones that have the circular dowel, in fact, I haven't seen any exceptions to that, because unlike, you'll see that one over there, I'll show you, I always like to make mine with a rectangular dowel to make it more of a more sturdy joint, so there's less rock in the neck where it comes into the body, but to stabilize the neck and hold it in with the circular dowel, you will usually see a couple screws in there. That's how a lot of the that's how the Buckbee is, but they've used these fine nails or tacks in this case, which is another thing that makes me think it's an earlier instrument. I think later on you start screws go back a ways, but they had screws for sure. Weren't too uncommon, but the use of tacks kind of makes me think this is older too. It's a little bit more low tech construction and materials. So I think that's the only screw in there, and it is maybe even somebody put that in there later to shore it up. I love that aged yellowed head on there. So many, it just makes you wonder, what was played on it, who played it. A lot of folks have asked me if I intend to restore this, and I have no intention to change anything about this instrument. I like it just how it is, and there would be no way to begin with, no way to, for one, it's in very sturdy condition. The only thing really wrong with it is the head, which is broken obviously, but there would be no way to put a new head on there without totally destroying this very distinctive attachment method. And the head itself has so much history, like you saw the writing in it and just the wear marks on it, the age. I'm perfectly content to hang this on the wall, and I think it tells a much richer story in its current condition. And it's an inspiration piece. It's something to muse on and inspire other banjos modeled after it, inspire music, and yeah, I do dream about what it might sound like, but I think that's why we have repros. At least in some cases. Some banjos, some old ones, I think you can definitely, it's definitely justifiable to restore them to playing condition, but this one has so much character as it is. I wouldn't want to do that. Another interesting thing, you know, this is an instrument that was made in a time when shop-made, professionally made banjos were becoming a lot more widespread and a lot more affordable, which might give us a hint as to who played it, who made it. Probably somebody who was of rather modest means. If it does come from Eastern Carolina, a good chance they were a sharecropper, tenant farmer. And we don't, no way of knowing they could have been black or white, just as easily. But just thinking of the stories this old thing could tell. So I did reference this. This is one that I'm working on that is inspired by this one, by this old one. This one, as you can see, is scaled up a little. I'm using a 11 inch, or actually 11 and a half inch grain measure, which is the standard size for, at least one of the standard sizes for 19th century grain measures. This was actually sold as a grain measure banjo. I don't know for certain if that's what this rim originally was. It certainly could have been, or it could have been made new, but it's very similar. I mean, the same, as you can see, the same width, thickness to the rim. The original is a little bit more shallow. I'd guess about 2.5 inches, whereas I cut this grain measure down. They start out about 6 inches deep, and I cut it in half and get 2 banjos out of it. As you can see, there are some differences. I did opt for the vertically mounted 5th string peg, and I always have preferred to make my necks from a single piece of wood, top to bottom, including the dowel. And I prefer to use a rectangular dowel. It's like I mentioned before, it's just a much more sturdy construction method. It's easier, at least for me, it's easier to build. Some people might find it easier to drill a hole in the neck and glue a dowel in there. But that, to me, that idea just, I don't like it. I like the idea of a single piece of wood. I don't like any, that's too iffy to me, having that joint in there, drilling into the neck. I just like the idea of one piece, and I think it's more sturdy. I think it looks better too. That's just my personal preference. So what I use I don't put the screws in there. I will just take, now on the old Boucher banjos, he would take a nail and drive it in there and bend it to kind of just wedge that neck in place. I just use, because I build mine with tacks, I just put a tack in there. And you can pry the tack out. If you need to take the neck off to put a new head on, you can just pry the tack out and take the neck off. But you can see I've tried to replicate the profile. My back angle isn't quite as steep. I was trying to make this more of an slightly earlier, it has some slightly earlier features to it. A little bit more like antebellum banjos with the vertical 5th string peg, and this a little bit more gentle back angle, though I tend to put a little bit more back angle than you see on some minstrel style banjos are practically flat, but you do see some that have a pretty good back angle on them too, and that makes for a better sound, more projection with the strings coming over the nut. That way decreases the risk of buzz. But you can see I've tried to replicate that peg head style. It was fun to carve. Let's just hold this up for comparison. See, it's a little bit different, but you get the idea. It's definitely got the same general idea. And this is walnut, and it's kind of an interesting piece of walnut. Walnut often is. Every piece is very unique, and I'm pretty sure this is walnut too. And I do believe this rim is oak, white oak. Same for this one. And I've stripped it down a little bit to take. Usually these are stained pretty dark, but I stripped it down to get back down to the bare wood, or pretty close to it, and just put a coat of oil and beeswax on there, which gives kind of the same tone. And with age, this will get all smudged like this one and look even better. Another thing, I do intend to replicate that leather band. I'm going to take a strip of leather, put it around the edge, and then tack it. This is all handmade, of course. Hand tools is what I use, just files, rasp, chisels, saws to cut out and carve all that. And this, in fact, this banjo will be going to a friend of mine up in eastern North Carolina. So that's part of the reason why I was talking to him, and I was saying, I have this old banjo from your neck of the woods, and how about I borrow some elements from it for your banjo? And he said that sounded like a good idea. So I really have enjoyed working on this so far, and will definitely be keeping you posted, and hopefully get a chance to record some tunes on it before it goes away to its new home. Well, that's about the long and short of it. What's new up here at the Upcountry Banjo Company near Greenville, South Carolina. Yeah, I'll be sure to keep y'all posted, and thanks so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions or comments or anything you might have noticed about this that I overlooked, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you and get more insight into what the history of this instrument might truly be. But one of the most valuable things about sharing all this stuff with you is the stories that I get, the comments. I hadn't really anticipated that, though I should have. I love to hear people tell about, well, my granddaddy in southwestern Virginia built banjos just like that, or my great uncle was a fiddler, and played that tune that you just played, or though he did it a little different, or he had this verse that I haven't heard anywhere else. So that's one of the great benefits of doing this. So I welcome y'all's comments, and yes, sir. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good day, and look forward to seeing y'all around. Take care.